Happy New Year, everyone. Welcome back to the channel. So it's 2023, and I think it's finally time that I do a game room walkthrough of my arcade and show you what I've got going and what I plan for the rest of 2023. So here we are in the game room. We're looking at the ceiling. I got a line with different posters, different pieces of artwork that I've collected over the years. Also got several different comic books and stuff like that I have lined up. This is some of the stuff I've been collecting over the years. So this is how I have the wall lined it up on one side of the room. Coming on across up top, you got your one of my favorite systems of all time with my neo-geo AES up top there. And we got some neo-geo MVS games there. Some more games there. AV versus Predator model there. Coming on across up top, we got some Sega Genesis games up top and there as well. Some models up top. And then coming across here, we got some more artwork on the walls. That was a signed poster I got from one of the developers when Virtua Fighter Final Showdown came out. That was back when I was doing a lot of traveling for tournaments and such. Who knows if I'll get back to that this year, we'll know. Then we come across, we got some more artwork, comic books mounted to the walls up top there. Then coming across here, once again, some more comics. You got your, if you guys recognize that Spider-Man versus Superman comic there. Some old school comics, so if you've been collecting for a long time like I have, some newer stuff, some old stuff, some stuff from the 70s, 60s, you know. How we do. Got some more comics there. Then you come around, you got some old Hulk magazines there back in the day, right? All right, then we come down to the walls. Well, I guess we should just start up here. So up top, we got some Sega CD games up top there. Some PC Engine, GameCube games there, posted there. Got a poster there. That poster right there was like a limited edition Holiken no Ken poster, Fist of the North Star. Really liked that one. Got that a long time ago. Okay, so now that we got that, let's go ahead and start taking a look at the cabs and stuff, right? So there's my Godzilla, still standing strong right there. So we got our Tekken 7 Naiori cab right there, still going strong. And of course, anybody who just happened upon this channel, I have detailed videos of each one of these cabs I've been doing throughout the year, so you can check them out. There's my Vulex there, Vulex Black, love that cab, still one of my all-time favorites. Got collections of the minis, mini system, the NES, Super Nintendo, Genesis, TurboGrafx-16, the EGRET2, neo-geo, Astro City, PlayStation Classic, and neo-geo-X, right? And backing out, it's my work PC where all the magic happens. I can pay for everything. Then we have the Sega Brass cabinet, one of the last LCD cabinets I went and bought, probably like 2 years now. It's 2023, but yeah, that's a great cab. I love that cab. High-end cabinet there. When I'm not playing games and TVs. Then we come over to our CRT section. So Mortal Kombat 2 Classic right there, modified panel. I'll probably switch that back to the original one later this year. My Sega Naomi Universal Classic, my first JVS cabinet, that one right there. My Neo Geo, took me a long time to get a hold of this one, my Neo Geo MVS solid metal cabinet, 4-slot. Love that thing. It's a rock. This was the last candy cab I got last year. Very excited when I got this one, the EXA-2. It took me, I don't know, 9 years to get a hold of this one, but I finally got it as a part of the collection. My Atomic Wave cabinet right here. Love that one right there. Was my first Tri-Sync cabinet. It's just a real durable cab. Power supply issues withstanding that you deal with when you get a Atomic Wave cabinet. Everybody knows about that, but I love that cabinet pretty well. And the cabinet that got me into everything, the first cab I was able to get, my Sega Astro City, the first cabinet, still going strong. Upgraded monitor about 2 years ago, upgraded speakers. I just love the look of the classic Astro City cabinet. The new Astro City was nice, and but I didn't really like that boxy look of the speakers. The classic Astro City is the one I always preferred, so I got that one and got that one upgraded. Forgot to talk about here. So we got up top, we got a Turbo Duo up there, Sapphire, Dracula X unopened. We got your neo-geo MVS, IGS PGM. Both of those are JAMA arcade boards, and system and games inside there. What games do we have inside there? We got Fast Striker inside there right now. Then we got some just neo-geo games right there. Xeno Crisis, Gyro, Mark of the Rules, Metal Slug there. Coming across, we got, what do we got there? Some Sega Saturn games, Hyper Duo, Bakugan, Super Street Fighter 2 Turbo. That is actually the 3DO version. For years, and I mean for maybe 15 years, that was the preeminent version that you could get for Super Street Fighter 2 for years. That came out on the 3DO. So for a long time, if you wanted to play the most accurate version of Super Street Fighter 2 Turbo, you had to get it on the 3DO, which was unique in itself because it came with, the 3DO came with just a 3-button controller, so you had to go out and buy a 6-button version of the controller for it. And then the 3DO itself, back in the day when it first came out, was like a $700 to $800 systems, and it only had a few good games on it. So it was a unique experience if you just wanted to play the best version of Street Fighter. But at the time, that's what you had to do back in the early 90s if you wanted to play it, other than buying an arcade cabinet itself. There have been obviously some newer versions since then, but if you were in the 90s, early 90s, and you wanted to play an accurate version, you had to get it on the 3DO. So that was just a blast from the past. I always had that in my collection. It was a great game to play back in the day. All right, and then here we come to the last cab that actually came, I don't know, the very end of 2022, excuse me, which is my Killer Instinct Pro cabinet. I was not expecting to get this cabinet until actually originally said this was going to be shipped out in 2023, but it surprised me. It came the day before Christmas. So let's talk about this cab. Build construction-wise, build-wise, the cabinet is pretty solid. It is just a little shorter than my Mortal Kombat 2 cabinet. Not much. It's probably almost the same height of the Naomi Universal, and that's a little shorter than the Mortal Kombat 2 cabinet. But weight-wise, it feels sturdy. It doesn't feel like it's going to go away, tilt or anything else like that. As far as the screen, that is a 19-inch monitor, so it's a little bigger than your standard arcade one-up. I have not had any issues with any kind of pixels or any kind of washout or anything else like that. Screen has been looking great. Sound is awesome, what you would expect. And you have your marquee, looks very nice. I probably can't pick it up on the camera I'm using right now, but the marquee in real life, just looking at it, it's stunning. I know some people I was hearing was talking about complaining about the bezel being silver and everything else. It looks great in person. To me, it looks great. You don't have the listing of the games that you would see on the standard edition. So the Pro one just has these Fox coin doors, which you can press to actually turn on the system. So it's pretty neat and everything else. As far as cons, I would say my biggest cons is one is not really related to the system, but it's more related to me. So number one, my number one con is that this panel right here, I wish they would have just made that one solid piece of panel there. It's fine the way it is. It's very sturdy and everything else, but I would have preferred just to have one solid piece. My bigger con is that as a person who's getting older, I would have preferred to have an option to just have this cabinet pre-assembled and shipped to me. Like I said, they get this game, the cabinet to me the day before Christmas, and I literally wanted to play the game, but I just did not have the will to put it together. It just sat there for like almost a week before I put it together. And it was just because I did not feel like the desire to just go and put in these cabinets. So I've bought arcade one-up cabinets before, at games cabinets before, and you know, you have to put them all together, and it's, I don't feel like doing it. And so it just sat there. So if anyone from Arcade One Up is listening or joined the channel and watching this video review, thanks for watching. Please remember to like and subscribe. But I would say give your consumers an option to have it pre-assembled. Obviously, I know that would increase the shipping cost because you would have to pay for a little bit more for it to be shipped, mounted, and everything else to a person. But I would say I would rather, if you gave me an option today to say, okay, this cabinet would be $300 more pre-assembled with the same shipping, I would do it. I would, without any question. Also, if you could say, okay, well, if you get it pre-assembled, you get the option for one solid panel there, versus if you get it in your current configurations shipped, whereas in the split slide panels right there, I will happily choose the option to have it pre-assembled and shipped to me. Because for everybody who's buying, you know, for all the people who buy real arcade cabinets, you know, like myself and many others out there, well, the cabinet's coming assembled, right? So we know what to deal with, how to deal with cabinets when they come assembled. We know what that means as far as the shipping costs and everything else. It's just a part of the nature of buying arcade cabinets. So if you're going to feature and sell pro air quote cabinets, just give people the option to have it pre-assembled, shipped to them, and then, you know, whatever the cost it may be for shipping, we'll just eat that and go forward. Now, as far as some of the accessories that came with, this came with like a nice poster. I haven't put it up yet. I'll put it somewhere. Maybe I'll put it under that Fist of the North store. It came with a mat. I was not expecting that mat to be as comfortable as it is. I just tried it out to stand on it. It is a very comfortable mat. I don't know how much it would cost separately, but it is a nice quality mat. I'm not going to put mine out right now because I have kids around and I don't want them to mess it up. I'll put it out once they get a little older or whatever else. But it is a nice mat. The stool, I don't know if it's going to be the same quality as the stools that came before. I had some stools that came with like the Marvel versus Capcom edition of Arcade One Up before. So unless it's like a revolutionary new stool, it's probably the same quality. So I'll probably get to it whenever I get to it. As far as this cabinet right here itself, the controls, this is the first Arcade One Up cabinet where I can say, playing on the joystick and the buttons, I do not feel the need that I need to go out and upgrade the buttons or the joystick. It's the first one. I just plugged it in and everything else. And I was like, oh, this feels good. It feels comfortable. I know some people may say, well, they didn't use the highest end of the tournament edition of the HAP joysticks and everything else. Well, okay, fine, that's true. But I will say these feel good. I'm just playing on and everything else. As far as this right here, it feels like it's a little bigger than your standard Arcade One Up control panel. Not much, but it's a little bigger. If you're going to have two people play that, I don't know how many people really do that. because generally, if you had an option where it was just one player, that would be fine for me, because I don't really have people over playing side by side like that anymore. It does have the online option. Everything else, I have not signed up for the online options and everything else, but it is available. Um, it has all of the same games that the standard air quote version of the Killer Instinct Arcade 1-Up cabinet comes with. So that's KI1, KI2, and all of the Battle Tools editions and everything else. I will say the very first thing to do, at least my preference, is because I do, if you've been watching the channel, you do know I do own a real arcade PCB version of KI2, so I know how that looks and plays and everything else. Is the first thing I would do on turning this on is turn on the scan lines. The game looks night and day on this monitor with scan lines on and scan lines off. If when I saw it, when I turned it on and scan line was off by default, I was like, oh, this looks muddy. I turned scan lines on and it looked just like my KI2 experience that I have on the real thing. So that is my number one thing to do. Turn that on right there and everything else. But like I said, the cabinet itself is pretty solid. It did, like they say, it's a limited edition. I don't know how true that really is, but so they give you this little card to let you know what version of the cabinet you have. Time will tell if that's true or not or anything else. But I will say, if they do decide to make another version of this cab or any other Pro cabs in the future, two things. I would just simply say one solid panel there and give people the option to have it pre-assembled. As far as quality and everything else, the user manual, very laid out, very easy to follow and everything else. But like I said, I still didn't feel like putting it together. But as far as following the directions and everything else, very well done as far as ease of use and putting it together. As far as the build quality, I didn't have any problems lining it up. It was all lined up perfectly. As far as the screws and everything else, didn't have anything missing, and everything else came out perfectly. Now, some people may say, or some people may ask, well, about the cost. So this one, this cab right here was $9.99 shipped to you, right? So it was the cab, the stool, the mat, and the metal Jago poster, if you will. So the last arcade 1-Up cabinet I had bought was, I think, like I said, a Marvel vs. Capcom cabinet, and that one was $750. So that was $750 not shipped. That was just $750. So this cab was $9.99. So if you had paid shipping for any cab with this weight in the boxes, shipping itself would have been $125, $150, right? So if you take that away, that the shipping cost away from this cab, and then you factor in, you got a larger monitor, you got a larger play style or play with there, is taller, and the speakers and the sound are much better than the ones that come in a standard arcade 1-Up cabinet. Yes, this is a good deal and everything else it comes. If you were thinking, okay, I get this cabinet and it's going to automatically jettison me into the world of having a real arcade cabinet, well, hold your horses, it's not that. But as far as a good middle ground, I would say this is the highest version of quality that Arcade 1-Up has created for a cabinet. So it's very well done. So I wouldn't look at this cabinet and say, okay, well, I paid $1,000 and I'm expecting to automatically be jettisoned into a real arcade. But I will say it is very close to being a fully authentic arcade cabinet. It is very close. So for $800, minus the shipping and stuff like that, it's very well done. Buttons, sound, everything else. So I'll just turn I'll just go inside here for a second. And I don't have the volume up that much because obviously I want you all to be able to hear me. But it sounds very well done. So you can come into the menu. It's very responsive and everything else. However you want to do it. So, sound-wise, the best sound I've heard from any arcade one-up cabinet, period. But there you go. So there you go. This has been a look at my arcade game room for 2023 with the latest edition of Killer Instinct added. I don't think I'll be buying any arcade cabinets this year, but I say that every year and I get something new. Now, my only exception would be is if Harada surprises me and says, hey, we are making a new version for Tekken 8, a new arcade cabinet for Tekken 8. That would be my only exception. I would bite the bullet and buy a brand new Tekken 8 arcade cabinet. But as of right now, they're focusing in on making Tekken 8 for the consoles and then coming back and making an arcade version. So who knows when a new the Tekken 8 is going to come to the arcades and if they decide to make a new arcade cabinet. But that would be my only exception for Tekken 8. You guys know how I love Tekken. But as always, thank you for watching. Please remember to like and subscribe. If you have any questions about anything, as always, put them in the comments. I'll get back to you as soon as I can. Happy New Year to everyone, and I'll talk to you all later. Peace.